Hey guys, welcome in. It's Ryan Lipsey with...
What's up? I'm Haylie Collier. Happy Friday, and what a beautiful weekend. We are going into Labor Day weekend.
It's Labor Day Friday. I can't wait.
I know. Hopefully, if I can speak this morning, hopefully everybody has some fun plans, or they're going to get out in the sun, or for most of us in real estate, we're usually, especially now, doing open houses and working. So hopefully you get a little fun in the sun, though, mix it in for like the last weekend of summer.
Yeah, spend some time, have a barbecue, have some cold adult beverages, watch some sports, tons of sports on. The Padres are neck and neck to get to the playoffs or not. NFL is entering in a new season. Tons of fantasy drafts.
Yeah.
I have a fantasy draft. You're all about that, right?
All of that, yeah.
The golf championship is on. I mean, any sport, almost any sport you want, you can find it. Even soccer. So, let's go.
Even soccer? What's that supposed to mean? Even soccer. Speaking to somebody who played soccer their whole life. Thank you, Ryan.
It's not first choice at the Lipsy House, but I love it. I love the beautiful game.
Anyways, we are so fortunate to be here in San Diego with amazing stuff we have happening, and real estate is moving. We're still seeing inventories kind of still staying a little stagnant, but we're seeing the cool off from the buyer fatigue. So there's not as much competition. You're not fighting with a bunch of offers going on, but we're still seeing transactions moving and seeing things going on, and things are still hopping into escrow. Maybe not within 24 hours, or not even 24 hours of it going on the MLS.
Or you're going to have 25 offers, you have 5 offers, right?
But they're solid and things are staying on. We have about an average market time coming up. So we're starting to see back to a little bit of normality, I would think we would like to say.
Well, and from the 44-year-old at the table, seasonality has hit in because kids are back in school. Halloween is going to be here before you know it, right?
Christmas. First Thanksgiving and then Christmas.
Wait, hold on. I'm having a heart attack. No. But the kids are back in school, so that means a lot fewer buyers out there dragging their kids around on weekends because now you got homework, you got school stuff, you're gonna have fall festivals, you've got reading every night, you got math. Oh my gosh. I wish I could remember freshman math so hard right now because Jack is like, what do this? What about that? What about that? And I'm like,
can you use a calculator? Google it.
I go to YouTube. YouTube is my training now. So.
It's so funny nowadays. Back then, I remember being in school and being told, you can't use a calculator. You won't use this. You can't use. And now, the only thing I use, I'm hold on, let me get my calculator. Hold on, wait, 4 times 2? Hold on. Oh, I got that GTS. 8. I got that 8.
GTS, right? That's GTS everything. It works for math too. Yeah.
Exactly. So, which kind of leads us into one of the harder terms of real estate and on our title knowledge.
I just got one question, Haley. What's so hard about easements?
So an easement is a real estate ownership which encumbrances on a right of title granted to an individual or entity to make a limited but typical indefinite use of the property.
Okay.
So what does that mean?
That's a mouthful.
So that's the legal definition of it. But what that really means is it's a recorded document in the legal description giving somebody rights of use to the property to be able for SDG&E.
So access granted.
Yep, access granted. I remember my parents' house out in East County, there was actually an easement that when all the fires happened, when the Cedar fires happened, their fire department could actually go through our backyard to get to the drainage ditch that was behind us, because after the fires happened, everything flooded and the whole hill was flooding into our yard. So that was the only way the fire department, the city, the county could get back there. And my parents had no idea. They didn't realize that this easement, because they bought in 1994 and the fires happened, 2008? Two, Cedar fires, those ones. Can't recall the year. But the city was like, oh, we have the easement to go into your backyard to get to the sewage part.
Well, it was limited, yet indefinite, right?
Yep.
It's ongoing, but they couldn't come and make a sandwich in the kitchen, right?
Nope.
But they could access the yard.
But they were able to tear off our entire side gate, tear down the entire fence to be able to get back there. And, our lovely county was like, oh, we replace everything. Don't worry. The grass and the fence that was replaced up to what we had in it. Yeah, but that's just one access of an easement. So I wanted to give you kind of a background story to know It's a county right access road. SDG&E is a very common one that you see.
That's a great example.
To be able to get back there and to be able to get to certain facilities that they need.
So I like to point out that it's limited. So like they couldn't go to your pool, they couldn't get a suntan in the backyard, throw a party or make a sandwich, but they were able to access the property. Limited access, limited.
Yep.
So SDG&E can come check the meter and then get back off.
Yep.
But it runs with the property. Certain things, when you've been doing title long enough, you hear people say, it just runs with the property, right? This is one of those things. You have easements because there's certain utility providers that need access to certain parts of the property. That's what an easement does. It says, hey, come on in, we're giving you entry to this, and then the recorded document really lays out what they have access to.
So like an appurtenant easement is an easement that you hear. That's a word. Appurtenant. You hear appurtenant and burdening easements. Appurtenant easement is one that is a road access that gives, say, someone's driveway. You know, they need to have access on someone's use of land to get to their home because that's the way the driveway
Otherwise
goes.
they'd be landlocked.
Otherwise they'd be, yes, exactly. So that is an easement recorded that shows that individual homeowner, whoever owns that APN, will always have access on that road to be able to get there.
So you, as the owner of this one that the road goes across, you just understand that it's given, it's known, and that's a pertinent, like Aaron.
Aaron.
Pertinent
well, and
easement.
then, you know, we've also heard private road agreements. So those are other things. But what's that? What does that fall under? I know you had a big word, Ryan, that you wanted to use on our easement.
The prescriptive easement.
Yes,
thank you. That's like proscriptive, 3 syllables.
He's been dying to talk about it in this video.
That's the English major in me.
He even questioned me, and I was on the title desk. He goes, "Do you know what that is?" And I was like, "To be honest, I've never heard that in the title world. So what is it, Ryan?"
Hey, you learn something every day.
You learn something new.
I tell you, man, we got to keep learning, keep growing. But anyway, a prescriptive easement is one, like let's say in that scenario, that road was just used, and as long as it's in excess of 5 years, it becomes an easement by virtue of the fact that it's been used regularly for so long. And so a prescriptive easement, there's also other implications of prescriptive, like there was hostility involved, there was some kind of a conflict that was overcome by initiating the easement. So we can dig deeper there. But basically, it's an easement that wasn't recorded initially that became an easement over time. So that's a prescriptive easement. I'm so happy I knew that.
Yeah, and that was what he just said at the end is really important to know that sometimes not all easements are recorded. So it is very important to have a surveyor go out. Most easements are located within the legal description because they're recorded documents that change the way the legal works. So it's recorded into the legal description. But with these easements,
the
prescriptive easements,
it's not pertinent, it's prescriptive. Okay.
These may not necessarily be recorded, so it's important to know that this could be on there. Also, there's private road agreements. Those are technically kind of considered easements. Those also lay out who is responsible for maintaining the driveway, who takes care of it, all that kind of information.
And a lot of times what you'll do is, let's say that there's an encroachment, different word, different video, okay? But if there's an encroachment of the flower bed and they didn't see the property line and they built like 4 feet onto your property, one resolution is to, hey, get your flower bed off my property, and you have to dig it up and fix it the way it was. Or you can create an easement allowing your neighbor that 4 feet encroachment to become an easement. So it can also be a solution in a kind of a sticky spot. We have a couple files where we're looking at that as an option. But anyway, tangent. So tell us about a burdening. That sounds like a burdensome situation. So yeah, a burdening
that's
easement.
exactly when an easement typically may not be recorded. When something goes onto the property, that may not necessarily be beneficial for the homeowners, but it is needed, so that is a burdening easement. So one type of easement that we've seen, a lot of local San Diegos or real estate agents, a lot of us in the industry are very well known with this property. I think it's like La Costa area, the really gorgeous home that's been listed for years. It's absolutely beautiful. You
right
can
on the
see
train
it.
tracks.
Yep.
Yeah.
However, there's a reason why that thing's been listed. I don't know who has it now, unfortunately, but it's gone through quite a number of different agents.
Never sold, not since I lived there.
Never sold, and there's a huge reason why I would think it probably hasn't sold is because it's a gorgeous home, multi-million dollars, full 360 view of the lagoon, ocean, everything that you have. You have a beautiful view, but Amtrak owns rights to an easement right through your property.
Yeah. So if they wanted to build a train station, they kind of can.
Yeah, they own. If they wanted to lay train tracks down on that property, they could. So that is a burden easement to that homeowner, because I would not want to pay millions of dollars for my home and then know that
and then all those property taxes too with that price tag, and then knowing that someday you could lose, a third of that part of your property on the west side of your property to Amtrak. So that is a great example of a burdening easement.
Yeah, so hopefully we gave you guys a couple ideas of easements, what they are. You can see them in your preliminary report. You know they're in your legal description. What thoughts do you have?
Well, I have one more. And when you hear plotted easements, most of these easements can be plotted on a map with a little pink line for SDG&E, a little blue line for the plumbing or the sewage or what have you, or drainage, right? So you get color-coded plotted easements. But there's one that can't be plotted. There's several that can't be plotted. There's a lot. But one of them is a view easement. So properties, especially in La Jolla or Bayho or the coastal parts of our community where it goes up the terrace and the plateau and whatnot, and you end up with views. So then you can only build up to a certain level. And you have to map it out with those little strings with flags on them to kind of project where your height is going to be. A view easement, how do you plot that on a map? You just can't. But you can have to adhere your neighbors to respect the view easement of the people behind to keep their view intact as much as possible, right? Then be aware of view easements, especially when you're selling coastally. So I thought that was a good one. We don't run up across it all the time, but it's pretty common.
It does come up pretty commonly, so it is good to know. And then also just a little like ninja tip, because it's towards the end of the video. If you ever have a condo and you're curious of, oh, what are my plotted easements on a condo? Condos don't have plotted easements. There are no plottable easements for condos.
Because it's a box in the air, right?
Condos typically have the common areas, which are laid out, which, refer to if you have a pool, that kind of stuff. It's laid out there in the common areas. But we get this a lot. Hey, can you plot any easements for me? Condos don't have plottable easements.
She saves the good stuff till the end. I like it.
So it's just to save you and your clients some time, so you already know you have that little tip. Unfortunately, there is just no plottable easements for condos.
We're so grateful to be your team, and we're signing off. I'm Ryan Lipsey.
And I'm Haylie Collier today.
All right. Ticor Title.
Bye, guys.
Bye. See ya.
Bye.